Hello and welcome to the news at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities across Scotland. Tonight, the next steps in the assisted dying bill. After yesterday's historic vote, it's up now to politicians and medics to look at the detail of the bill in more detail. We'll hear from the body representing psychiatrists in Scotland about where they stand in the debate. Also tonight, an energy campus is to be created in Aberdeen under plans to move civil service jobs out of London, with Glasgow and Edinburgh also to benefit. And Orkney continues preparations for hosting the Island Games this summer as boats arrive for the sailing event. We will have all the sport with Sheila. What have you got for us tonight?
We'll be hearing from Holly Davidson as she continues to break down barriers in rugby refereeing.
Hello, I'm Amy Irons and welcome to the news at 7. It was a landmark vote in Scottish political history, but what happens next? Well, today politicians and public health figures are working that out after MSPs voted to pass the first stage towards the legislation on assisted dying. If it was to become law, it would give terminally ill people the right to seek medical help to end their life. But there's a long way to go before that could happen. The next stage is amendments to the legislation, when it can be refined. After that, it would be stage 3, which would be another vote at Holyrood on the final bill. The Scottish Government has stayed neutral so far, but is now set to get involved.
We will now take more of a position within certain elements of the bill, but that will be through discussion within government, as well as engaging with the committee and Liam MacArthur to make sure we do so in a way that is reassuring, that provides clarity, but also that is practical in terms of what is deliverable through this bill.
Well, in England, the Royal College of Psychiatrists backs the idea of assisted dying in principle, but revealed last night it does not support a similar bill currently being debated at Westminster. So what does the Scottish body think? Well, earlier I asked Dr Stephen Potts, who's the college's lead on assisted dying here.
Although there are two parliaments currently considering bills in parallel between Holyrood and Westminster, there is one Royal College of Psychiatrists. However, it's devolved its responsibilities with regard to Scottish legislation to the Royal College of Psychiatrists in Scotland. And our position here of the Royal College of Psychiatrists in Scotland is neither oppositional nor supportive of the bill or the general principles that it embodies here in Holyrood.
So the bill in England is further ahead than here in Scotland, where obviously it's just passed its first stage. Can you tell us why then the position of the Royal College of Psychiatrists has changed now down south?
Yes. The position of the college for the England and Wales bill is very clearly neither supportive nor oppositional of the general principles behind the bill. They've come out as of last night in opposition to the current England and Wales bill in its current form, for the reasons that they've set out both in the media and in briefings to MPs. So the position of the college with regard to the English and Welsh bill has changed. The position in Scotland has not. But those are issues about the bill rather than the general principles. Could
we see that happen in Scotland as this bill is further scrutinised? Could we see a change in position?
It's not impossible, but it would take quite a radical change in the bill as it currently stands for us to be likely to come to a position of opposition.
And Dr Potts, can you explain just to our viewers what your understanding would be in terms of a psychiatrist's role when it comes to allowing someone to medically end their life in this way? In the Scottish bill, the role is a relatively constrained one, where psychiatrists may be involved in assisting the two other doctors to assess somebody's capacity in cases where they have doubts about that capacity. In other words, a subset of cases, certainly not every case, and psychiatrists are not expected to have any kind of final sign-off under the Scottish bill. That's the biggest single difference that I see with the Westminster bill, where a psychiatrist will be expected to sit on a panel in all cases, even when there is no evidence of incapacity or of mental disorder. And it's that's the College for England and Wales has objected to
as one of the issues in the bill that they're concerned about.
Is that to do with just the resources, Dr. Potts, in terms of the ability of psychiatrists to be involved and something else, I suppose, to be added to their workload?
There's a concern about resources in both Scotland and England and Wales, but that's not the primary reason for the College in London objecting to the English and Welsh bill. The primary reason relates to the role laid down for psychiatrists as essentially paper scrutineers of other doctors' decisions, even in cases which have nothing to do with mental disorder or incapacity. That's not part of a psychiatrist's skill set, and it's not something that the College for England and Wales thinks we should be doing. It's not a proposal in the Scottish bill, and therefore there's no reason to expect we'll be asked to do it here.
That was Dr. Stephen Potts there. Well, a new energy campus is to be created in Aberdeen as the UK government moves thousands of civil service jobs out of London. The city, alongside Edinburgh and Glasgow, has been named among 13 others to host government staff. The campus will become the home of Great British Energy, as well as the second headquarters of the Department of Energy Security and Net Zero. The exact site has not yet been revealed. Louise Hosey has more.
The UK government says it wants to see 50% of senior civil servant jobs placed outside of London by the end of the decade. It's aiming to cut the number of roles in London by 12,000 and close 11 offices in the capital in order to save £94 million a year by 2032. Glasgow, Edinburgh and Aberdeen are among the 13 locations where jobs will be based, and there are plans for an energy campus here in Aberdeen. The Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, Pat McFadden, told the BBC that he believes this will not only help to save money, but could help career progression for many.
Not only have we had in the past a concentration of people in central London, but it's been a particular concentration when it comes to the senior civil service grades. So I want to see somebody join the civil service after school if necessary and have the ability to be promoted through the ranks and grades without having to always move to central London.
The changes were today welcomed by unions, but they say they do need more details on the impact this will have on civil servants. Meanwhile, the Conservatives have accused the government of shuffling things around and making empty promises. Now, the exact number of civil servants who will be relocated hasn't been confirmed yet, but it's understood this will be determined by the government spending review, which is due to be completed in June. Louise Hosey, reporting Scotland, Aberdeen.
Well, this comes as a coalition of trade unions and climate groups staged a rally outside the House of Commons to call for emergency funding of almost £2 billion a year for North Sea workers. The demonstration follows news of major job losses at Aberdeen-based Harbour Energy last week. Our Westminster correspondent Rajdeep Sandhu reports.
1, 2, 3, 4, we got to lay no more.
Gathering early this morning, an unusual coalition which included trade unions representing oil workers next to climate activists. Putting aside their differences, they want the government to start delivering on green jobs now.
We're calling for 1.9 billion every year, and I think it's really crucial to state that that is investment. So this isn't about handouts, it's about asking the government to seize an opportunity to genuinely create new industries and new good unionised jobs right across the country.
One place impatient to see those jobs materialise is at Grangemouth, which stopped refining oil a few weeks ago.
For me personally, the end of refining at Grangemouth that Tuesday was devastating.
The government says it's taken rapid steps to deliver the next generation of good jobs for oil and gas workers.
But the point I'm making as a Grangemouth worker, and I think the general public need to know, is that intervention and those interventions today are not saving one single job. We are years away before jobs will be created at the site, and that's why our focus will in the immediate future now be about how do we accelerate these opportunities to Grangemouth.
But are there demands for a serious cash injection every year likely to be met by the Chancellor?
I have pressed her numerous times in Treasury questions and in urgent statements, and she doesn't want to do it. But that doesn't mean that I just have to accept that. There are many MPs in the Parliamentary Labour Party that agree with me and feel the same with me, and we'll continue the campaign.
If the government doesn't take action, if it doesn't support the renewable energy, if it doesn't support Track 2 carbon capture and storage, for example, looking at the Acorn project in Aberdeenshire, if it doesn't do that, then we risk total decimation of communities. You know, this is going to be worse than what we saw with the coal mines closing if those jobs are not there.
The warnings are stark, but it's the decisions made in this building that determine how quickly those jobs are created. Rajdeep Sandhu, reporting Scotland, Westminster.
Thanks for joining us for the news at 7. Still to come on the programme. The story of the boy from Dumfries and Galloway who inspired a garden at the Chelsea Flower Show.
It's been dry and sunny right across the country today, and you can see in the outlook it is set to continue. I'll have a full forecast though later in the programme.
Well, as we saw from Chris there, we've had an exceptional run of warm, dry weather recently, have we? Which might be nice when we want to spend time outdoors, but it can have serious implications for our water supply. Last week, the Scottish Environmental Protection Agency issued an early warning for water scarcity across the country. As a result, Highland Council has started providing emergency bottled water to those who need it. We'll hear from the council in a moment, but first, here's Mike Dunthorne, who runs an outdoor activity business which has been affected by the dry conditions.
We've now made the decision to stop canoe hires on the rivers in Scotland. It's a small but significant part of our business, but no, the water levels have dropped so low that there's several problems arising. One is damage to canoes, and including some canoes just completely written off with the dry conditions.
Well, Patricia Sheldon is a Senior Environmental Health Officer at Highland Council and told me what they're doing to help.
We have a fair few number of private water supplies in the Highlands, and at this time we're supporting anybody on a private water supply, any domestic properties that are experiencing water shortage or have run out of water. We can help by offering them advice and support, and if need be, providing them with some emergency bottled water for drinking so they can carry on with a little bit of normality.
And give us an idea, Patricia, of exactly what has prompted this. I know we've had a lot of dry weather, but what specifically has put you in the position where you're having to issue bottled water?
Yes, certainly. So SEPA have, in their latest water report, identified that certain parts of Scotland are at risk of water scarcity, and the Highland has been put into an early warning category. And this has prompted the Scottish Government, because there have been reports to local authorities of some private water supplies experiencing water shortage. They've initiated the emergency bottled water scheme, and Highland has obviously put this into place. And in the last few days, we've been strategically working to put bottled water where we need it to be so that we can support our communities across the whole of the Highlands who need our help in the next few days or weeks ahead.
How big a logistical challenge is that, just to try and get water to people who, as you say, live in quite rural areas of Scotland?
Yeah, it can be quite difficult. As you know, we've got town areas, we've got quite rural areas, and then we have island communities as well. So we're working closely with Scottish Water. They're giving us great support in not only providing us with the bottled water, but also enabling us to use some of their facilities to store the water, so that when we've got inquiries that are coming in, we can work together and then logistically work out how water can be collected, or where people are vulnerable and unable to make that ability, have transport to collect the water, we will try and deliver it to them via the council, and other services within the council will help environmental health achieve that.
Do you have any indication at all as to how long this might last then?
Not at this point in time, no. SEPA run obviously collecting the data, and they run reports weekly. We have been in this situation for a number of years where we've had the emergency water bottle scheme, and we have had busier periods and quieter periods. So we're unsure, but at the moment we have had quite a significant demand in the last few days for inquiries to come through to us, and we are dealing with them as best we can, and we hope to continue to offer that support throughout this difficult period for some people who really want the rain, whereas others of us are quite enjoying the summer weather at this time.
That was Patricia Sheldon there from Highland Council. Let's take a look at just some of the stories that you will find on the BBC News app in Scotland. Glasgow's Pride Festival has banned political parties from this year's event due to a perceived lack of action in response to the recent Supreme Court gender ruling. The principal of the University of Highlands and Islands, Perth, has resigned from her post at the college. Dr Margaret Cook faced calls to step down following extreme financial challenges there. And Peebles Rovers Football Club is facing expulsion from their league as their current ground, Whitestone Park, no longer meets the criteria for competing in the East of Scotland League. Well, for more on these stories and many more, you can scan that QR code on your screen and it will take you straight to the BBC Scotland News app, where there is more for you there, including the escapee dog that boarded a train on its own. Now, it's just under 2 months until Orkney hosts the Island Games, which will see athletes from 24 island groups from all over the world compete in 12 different sports. There's a lot of preparation going into it, and earlier boats started arriving for the sailing events. Adam Harkis reports.
Well, if you've ever wondered what £200,000 worth of sailing boats looks like, here is your answer. These are Elkas, the type of vessel you might have seen at the Olympic Games. Now, these 24 boats will tack to the waters around Kirkwall in July, a major part of Orkney's Island Games.
We're all islands and we're all involved in the water nearby us, so we want to be able to further the sport of sailing and to increase the levels. There have been sailors in the past who have been in the cusp of the Olympic team that have been involved, and that along right down to the level of your normal club sailor. So it brings up everybody's levels then to be able to sail in an international event.
The reason these boats are brand new off the production line is that it's required by Island Games rules. The theory is that by having identical boats, the races are a test of competitors' skill rather than the speed of their dinghy. Now, the funding of the purchase of these vessels was well beyond the means of Games organisers, but they've been assisted with the cost by the Royal Yachting Association Scotland and by Sport Scotland. Perhaps more significantly though, for the development of sailing as a sport in Orkney, these brand new Elkas will remain here and be distributed to local clubs. So it might be that we see these dinghies sailing in the waters behind me for years to come. Adam Harkis, reporting Scotland, Kirkwall.
Yes, what an event that's going to be. Well, still to come, we will have the weather forecast with Chris and hear all about the garden at the Chelsea Flower Show, inspired by one boy from Dumfries and Galloway. But before all of that, it is sport time with Sheila, and we have some big football matches tonight, Sheila.
We sure do. This evening's Premiership fixtures could prove to be decisive in the race for European places and in the bid to avoid relegation. There are only 2 rounds of matches to go in the bottom 6. Basement side St Johnstone play Hearts at Tynecastle, knowing they will be relegated if they don't at least match 11th placed Ross County's result at Dundee. And in the top 6, Dundee United could be doing with taking something against Rangers at Ibrox in their attempt to get 5th place and a spot in Europe, while it's a similar story for Aberdeen in 4th spot as they host Celtic. St Mirren at the moment are outside the European places but could still qualify, and as the Buddies prepare to welcome 3rd placed Hibernian, their manager Stephen Robinson believes that would be a big bonus for his players.
Everything we achieve after staying up is a huge bonus for us, so we can enjoy the game, we can relax, and I think you can see that in our football. When we've played against the top 6 teams, we enjoy it, we enjoy pressing them high up the pitch, and we've been playing some really, really good stuff in terms of breaking people down and scoring goals, so we're just going to go and enjoy it. It'll be a full house. You know, the fans rightly, as they were on Saturday, will get right behind this group of players, and who knows, let's go and get 3 points and then we'll worry about all the permutations afterwards.
Well, from the men's to the women's game, and the SWPL is once again providing a tense title run-in, with Hibernian, Rangers and Glasgow City all still in with a chance of winning the league. Hibs are 3 points ahead of Rangers and City, and all 3 contenders play their penultimate games this evening. Leaders Hibernian knew they could clinch the title if they beat Celtic, and Rangers and Glasgow City failed to win their games. Well, Hibs are doing their part. Ailey Adams has made it 4-1 with this lovely finish. There's about half an hour to go at Meadowbank, but it looks like the title will go to a final day decider because Rangers are cruising away to Hearts. They lead 5-1 as half-time approaches. Glasgow City travel to Motherwell for their match at 8 o'clock. Now, we may not have a Scottish team in a European club rugby final, but we will have a Scottish referee. Trailblazing Holly Davidson will become the first female to referee a European final when she takes charge of the Challenge Cup final between Bath and Lyon in Cardiff next Friday. I spoke to her earlier and asked how it feels to be making history once again.
Unbelievable, to be honest. When I received the call last week from EPCR and Tony Spreadbury, I actually couldn't believe it. I was extremely shocked, but it's a huge moment in my career and a huge moment for the team around me, helping me to achieve what I am so far.
Not only the first female, but the first Scot to referee a European final since 1998. Do you feel like you're representing your country on the big stage?
Yeah, massively. Like you said, a Scot hasn't reffed a European final since Jim Fleming, and everyone knows what a legend he was in Scottish rugby. So to kind of continue that mantra through a lot of people that have come between sort of Jim and myself is really special. We never obviously get to ref underneath our kind of country's flag. So when we go out here in these competition and big games, I hope I do my country proud, and I go out there and ref a good match.
It's been quite the year for you, hasn't it, with the men's and women's Six Nations, and you've also got your first men's Tier 1 test match this summer. What do you take from all these experiences that you're having?
Yeah, it's been a big year of growth and development, to say the least. I've probably been put into games that have really tested me, have really put me under some stress and stressful situations, but I suppose that's where we really test our mettle and see if we're up to standard. I've loved it. It's been very challenging. But if I want to be one of the best in the world, these are environments that I need to go into and I need to test myself in. So hopefully that stands me in good stead for the final next week.
Referees, as I'm sure you well know, aren't the most popular people in sport all the best of times. How does it feel being a woman in a man's game, and how do you handle that?
Yeah, I genuinely believe the players that I referee really don't care if it's a male or female in the middle. They just want us to do our jobs to the best of our ability. And if we facilitate a good game, then that's, to be honest, what they're mostly concerned about. I love being out there. It's intense, it's physical, but if you're not playing, then it's one of the best seats that you can have in the game. So I feel very fortunate to be able to have these opportunities.
Holly, wish you the best of luck and enjoy your summer.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, good luck to Holly there. Lots more, as always, on the BBC Sport Scotland website, including live text action from tonight's Premiership and SWPL games as we hit crunch time at the end of the season. And Amy, you can watch Sports Scene if you're interested.
Yes.
BBC One at 10:40 tonight.
I know it's going to be very exciting, isn't it? Now, Sheila, I'm glad you're still here because you've dressed for our next item.
Oh, I hope so.
Our very own flower show right here. It is that time of the year when the Chelsea flower show is on our screens. And this year, an 8-year-old boy from Dumfries and Galloway has inspired one of the gardens there. Designer Duncan Hall based it on his nephew Liam, who has Down syndrome. Earlier, I spoke to Eddie McConnell from Down Syndrome Scotland, who helped fund it alongside his son Finlay, about the importance of the garden.
It's a very exciting way the garden came about. We were approached by Duncan Hall. He's one of the two garden designers. The other garden designer is Nick Burton. And Duncan was so impressed with the way Down Syndrome Scotland was supporting his young nephew who has Down syndrome. And he wanted to give something back. So he wrote to us about 2 years ago saying, can we work together? And I wasn't sure how that was going to work out. And he said to me, I'm thinking about a garden at Chelsea. And we all got so excited.
It must feel like quite a moment to be at the Chelsea flower show, something so prestigious.
It's amazing. It's an amazing platform for us as a charity. We're a small Scottish charity and we're stepping out onto this global platform. And it just gives us such an important opportunity to tell the world about how wonderful our people are. And we talk about the superpowers of people with Down syndrome. So Nick and Duncan, our garden designers, they've just pulled this beautiful garden together that amplifies those qualities. But it's also a garden of surprises, Amy. So it's an exciting garden. It's got mischief in it. It's got a bit of fun in it. Because if you know people with Down syndrome, they're always a bit of mischief and a bit of fun. But it also stops people in their tracks, because this garden is about trying to change people's attitudes and trying to change the narrative about disability in general and about people with Down syndrome in particular.
What do you hope, Eddie, people will take from visiting the garden? What kind of lasting impression and what do you want people to think about when they visit the garden?
So we want people to leave the garden feeling joyful. We want them to leave the garden saying, you know what, I'm going to look out for people with Down syndrome now. I'm going to find people in my community and I'm going to work with them. I'm going to bring them into society and I'm going to realise that they've got wonderful qualities of compassion, of kindness, of care. And just think about how you can involve them in everyday life, whether that's helping them find a job, because we know many of them aren't in paid employment, or whether that's also thinking about how their health can be improved and how we can look after their health and make sure they get equal access to good health.
And Finlay, how busy have you been in the garden?
You've been in the garden today, haven't you, Finlay? Yeah. And what's your favourite of the garden? He loves the flowers. Finlay loves the flowers and he loves the hug. Loves the flowers and he loves it.
Oh, Finlay, I think that would be my favourite bit too. Flowers and a hug. I don't think we need much more than that, do we? Eddie McConnell and his son Finlay there. Well, it's certainly nice weather to be in the garden, isn't it, Chris? I feel like it just, it's really spoiling us now, isn't it?
It is a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sunshine and blue sky, no rain in the forecast until probably Thursday or Friday next week.
Oh, we can handle that.
Yes, although some people really need the rain,
yes,
Amy.
Yes.
Lots of pictures coming into us as ever when we get weather like this. Beautiful picture there from Shetland, the sea cliffs there. There was a bit of cloud around this morning, wasn't there, through parts of central and southern Scotland. It lifted and most of us ended the day with sunshine and blue sky. And more of that on the way. Let's take a look at what's happening over the next few days, because we've got high pressure with us and it is a blocking high. So it's blocking all the weather fronts from arriving. Weather fronts bring rain. So therefore it's going to stay dry. The reason why it's not going anywhere is because the jet stream, fast moving winds up in the atmosphere, is running all the way around of it to the north of it and back down again, holding it in place. So dry is the watchword for at least the next week. This is first thing tomorrow. And unlike this morning, pretty much sunny across the board. We won't have that cloud and low cloud to contend with. One or two areas of cloud here and there, but generally a dry and fine start to the day. Temperatures there at 8 in the morning, around about 6 to 10 Celsius. We still have that north-northeast breeze, though, affecting the northern Isles, the north coast and parts of the east coast as well, giving a cool feel. But further west, that's where it's warmest. And in the west, 23 or 24 degrees, always cooler on the east coast. That high pressure sticking with us on Friday. Once again, though, with winds going around, high pressure in a clockwise motion, we've got that wind coming in from the north to affect eastern parts, and there will be some areas of cloud lapping on shore at times, but most of us probably avoiding it. So sunshine once again, and in the west 24, maybe 25 degrees. In the east, still mid-teens, not too bad, has to be said. Beyond Friday, this is Saturday, spot the difference if you can. There isn't much of one. It's dry, it's sunny, and in the west, temperatures again up to around 24 or 25 degrees. Some bands of cloud moving in from the north at times too. And that high pressure sticking with us through Sunday into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, probably Thursday as well. So it's more of the same. This is Sunday now in detail. You can see that wind coming in from the north, giving quite a cool feel for the Northern Isles and eastern coastal parts. But in the west, in the sunshine, it's strong at this time of year. Temperatures will climb. Monday is similar. Again, a bit of cloud around, perhaps some low cloud at times, but in the sunshine, it's obviously dry and sunny and feeling warm. Quick look at the outlook. Tells you all you need to know. Dry and sunny. That's the forecast.
I know, look at all those sunny suns.
Look at them all.
Christopher, I know. It makes you think, what's summer going to be like, though? Well, I don't want to think about that. Well,
this might be it. This might be it.
Should maybe enjoy it while we've got it. Thanks very much. And thanks to you for joining us on the news at 7. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Until then, there is plenty more on the BBC News app. Bye-bye for now.